Hello everybody and welcome to this week's vlog. Last time I made half of this baby boba dragon head that I wanted to make with jumbo yarn of my design, but the safety eyes, the largest size that I have is too small and I don't think I have enough time to order some larger ones, and I don't even know if I want larger ones, like how big can it get, and I don't really want to use felt and stuff. So what I've decided to do, instead of continuing on, I'm going to frog this whole thing, which stresses me out. But anyway, we're going to frog the whole thing. And instead, I thought I would make one of the My Little Ponies. Which one is it called? I forgot. I used to watch My Little Pony, so I'm not a fake fan, but Pinkie Pie. I'm going to make Pinkie Pie using my 3-in-1 pony, Pegasus, and unicorn pattern. So this is like the perfect Pinkie Pie body color, and I have enough skeins to make the whole horse, I think. And then I'm going to use a darker pink for the hair, of course, and we're going to do the whole thing. So that's what I'm going to try and make. I'm also going to continue crocheting my veggie turtles pattern. I have a few more ideas for the different veggies I want to make, but veggies are interesting because I feel like there's not as much variation in color as there is in like texture. So this will be like a more of a textural pattern. So it might take a little bit more maneuvering and, a bit more engineering, one may say, to get them just right, but that is my goal for the coming days if I have some time. Before I start crocheting for the day, I have to pack some orders, so I'm going to take you guys along and just pack a couple of the orders, obviously not all because you'll be sitting here all day, but I thought it would be nice to bring you guys along. I tried to film this a week or so ago. Turns out my mic wasn't connected to my camera. It was like connected to my phone. It wasn't working. I don't know. So I had to scrap it and scrap all the content that I filmed. So we're trying to make up for some lost time. The first order we have is for Sophia, and she ordered 3 skeins of Teddy Bakery. She got one baby blue, which is right here, baby blue, one ballet pink, which is this yarn, and then one snow, which we have here. So this is her order, and I'm just going to pop it into the mailer. Here is our mailer. And just pop these in. I usually add a thank you note, but I've just run out. I have to cut out some more that I did print, but I haven't had the time, so these are just gonna have to go out without. But I do need to get them printed as soon as possible because I really don't like sending off my orders without my thank you notes. So I'm gonna try and get it done as soon as I have time, maybe tonight. But here's her order all packaged up. I'm so grateful for your order, Sophia. I hope you enjoyed the yarn if you are watching this. And then now I'll do another order with you guys for today. Okay, the next order is for Sarah, and she ordered 4 skeins of Teddy Bakery. She got one lilac, which is this lovely little lilac color right here, one steel, which is here, and then she got one snow as well. There we go. And lastly, she ordered an onyx, which we have right here. So this is her order, and I'm going to place it into the mailer. There we go. 4 fits perfectly into our smaller mailer. And then again, sorry, thank you cards. Oh. Not the light turning off. Okay, we're back. And then I have to add her label. Of course, I don't want to show that on camera, but here is her order all packaged up. And I'm going to go ahead and pack the rest of them off camera, and then I will deliver them. And then I'm going to get started on my jumbo plushie, My Little Pony Pinkie Pie. It's been a slow crochet day. I've just finished some work stuff, so now we have the body of the pony finished, making a little Pinkie Pie, and this is what it's giving so far. I'm very happy with it. I've stuffed her incredibly firmly because I am worried about the weight shifting. Once I attach the head, it might flop forward a bit, so I've made sure to stuff it very firm. I did try and add these little beads that I took out from a plushie that I gave to my dog. So I made sure to empty out all the beans before he got to attacking. But now I just have these beans, but I don't have enough of these little mesh bags. Like this is the one that it came in that I don't know why I still have it. It's useless. So I need to get like those like muslin bags and put the beans in, and I just don't have time for all that. I'm gonna figure that out one day, but it would have been nice to stuff the legs with the beans and make it a bit more solid. But anyway, she is stuffed very, very, very firm, like a brick. So now I'm gonna move on to the head. Pony update, she's nearing her final form. All I have to do is add the hair here, sew it down, and then of course add her little marking here on her side, and then she's going to be finished. I am really pleased with how she's come out. I feel like I expected her to be a lot bigger for some reason, but I mean, this is still a pretty decent size, and considering I'm going to have to store her afterwards, I'm not mad about it. So yeah, we are nearing the end of this little project. She is now finished. I'm so happy with how she turned out. The one thing that I still possibly may need to do is like tie the hair up. That's what I like to do using whenever I make my pony pattern. I like to sort of like clip up the hair. It gives it like a little bit more volume. I feel like sometimes when you just let it hang loose a bit, it looks like a bit more sparse like that. I prefer it just like to kind of be a bit gathered and, give her a little bit more oomph. But this is what she looks like. I'm very happy, and I've done the little balloon detail that goes on the side of her. I tried my best to make the like little balloon strings not look so like rigid and wonky, but this is what we got. But yeah, so I'm very pleased with how she's come out, but now I need to find somewhere to store her, which is the bigger problem at hand at the moment. But now that I've finished this little project, I need to figure out what I want to make next. I think I can either continue with the veggie turtles, or I also have to finalize selecting pattern testers for my baby dragon pattern. Something else I could do, I could make another thing with my jumbo yarn, because I do kind of want to gradually like clean out and use the yarn because it's been there for so long. Fun fact is I haven't bought any new yarn in over a year, which I'm not counting my yarn business. Obviously I have my own yarn business, Scarily. Oh, I'm trying to move a little bit. Okay. Obviously I have my own yarn brand at Scarily, so I've actually ordered thousands and thousands of skeins of yarn, but I'm not going to count that because most of it's I'm selling it. Obviously I try and use Scarily as much as I can, which is why I haven't bought any new yarn, chenille yarns from other brands, because I want to use my own brand, and I do think that my yarn is the best, of course. Otherwise, how could I stand behind my business? But so whenever I just kind of run out of color that Scarily doesn't make at the moment, I just haven't, I don't know, I'm just using up everything that I have. And then if I really need a color that Scarily doesn't make, then I'll have to go and get some. But that hasn't been the case for the past over a year. We've still got a good stash going, so we'll see how long it takes for me to cave and buy some yarn, but not today, not right now. I have a mini seafood update. I've managed to design a little shrimp / prawn, a super, super tiny one. These are all going to be no-sew. I'm going to try my absolute hardest to make them all no-sew, because I feel like what's the point of having a mini pattern if you're still going to have to sew? And I feel like it's harder to sew small items versus like the bigger ones. So I'm going to do my first ever no-sew pattern bundle. And then we have this little crab. This one is really cute as well. I also really like challenging myself and making different things. If you guys are familiar with all of my patterns, like if you take a look through my Etsy and even my YouTube, every single pattern is going to be super different from the next. I really, like, one of my pet peeves are when people just like make slight tweaks to their like base patterns and then try and sell each one as a new thing. I feel like that's just like so not cool. So I try my hardest to make each thing really, really different so that every time you purchase a pattern from me, it is something of value that is completely new that I'm testing myself. So these two are the ones that I've made so far. I love crabs, I love seafood, so this one is a very fun pattern. And I am also in the process of making a little oyster. This is what we have so far. I'm gonna call it, because it's 10 p.m., you already know, it's past my bedtime. So now I am going to continue with that tomorrow, but I feel like it's going well. I had to remake this one a second time, like for the back shell, and I feel like it's kind of big. I'm like, this isn't like biblically accurate. So like, why is the oyster bigger than the crab? Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it? I feel like I didn't want to make it too small and have it be like a bit pointless. So this is what we have. And I'm going to continue with some more tomorrow. Seafood update. I have finished the oyster, except this one is one where I'm thinking, like, well, I'm unsure of it. This one was interesting to make no-sew. I really had to put my thinking cap on and brainstorm, but I am happy with the general vibe. I just feel like the shape could be a little bit more oyster-y, but I do really like how the little, like the innards pops out like this, like, even as a no-sew pattern. I feel like that's really cute. So at least it does look like an oyster. So that's a start. But now I am working on an anchovy, and it looks like a thumb. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna, obviously it's early days, so we'll see how it turns out. I'm like, do I keep going and just like have faith, or do I just start again? So, and I feel like these aren't that small, like, because I sized down my hook size to make them look small, but I don't know, like, I feel like I'm allergic to making true minis that are really small, because I feel like that's just such a short pattern. Like, I feel like the pattern needs to at least be like something. So the strategy for me is just to turn down the hook size. And yeah, so we've got our thumb in the works. And then what I was thinking is the next one I'm going to try and make is like squid. I was going to try and do calamari, but like calamari is just like a ring. Like that's some audacity if I try and put out a calamari pattern. It's just a ring. It's just a chain. But anyway, I'm going to try and make like a full squid. So maybe it's not going to look exactly like seafood, like, you know, prepared, but it's sea creatures that are seafood. Okay? Maybe we'll have to like, you know, expand there. And then I think I can do a lobster as well. That would be cool. Maybe a lot of crustacean action, of course. And then I was thinking like, I don't know, because I was thinking about like some of the bigger fish, but I feel like that's a bit too much for now. So this is what we're going to go with. And then I'm going to have to try and think of some more little sea creatures that I can make. See if I need at least five in the bundle. And then we'll see if I can come up with more. About 2 days ago, we received the news that Hobbii is no longer shipping to Australia, which is obviously huge news for the fiber arts community here in Australia, because we already don't have that many options, and Hobbii is a huge supplier of yarn around the world. For me, I am equal parts annoyed and overjoyed, because of course that means that, you know, I don't have access to their yarns anymore, and they have a bunch of yarns. I have shopped from them before. I haven't ordered from them in like over a year, but still the option is nice if I want to, you know, but now I don't have that option. But on the flip side, I am, of course, a competing brand. I have my own plush yarn brand, and I do want to expand to other yarns in the future. So, you know, this is a great opportunity for other small businesses in Australia. There are a lot of small yarn businesses popping up now. So, you know, it's time for people to look at other options and support small local businesses such as myself. So this is an exciting opportunity as well. This is definitely not an indicator that the fiber arts community in Australia is slowing down. If anything, I think that there is too much demand in Australia for Hobbii to be able to sustain their like free shipping, and, you know, all the way down here in Australia, it's expensive. So I think that is the reason why they are no longer shipping. I think it's crazy because, you know, we get such few options already. But anyway, I'm probably going to do one last order from them just in case, because while I actually haven't ordered any chenille yarns for over a year, ever since Scarily has, you know, been birthed by me, my child, I no longer buy any other yarn brands unless there's a color I desperately need. But I happen to have quite a bit of stock on hand, so I haven't needed it, and I usually just kind of try and work with what I have and try and be resourceful and not over consuming and being wasteful and just excessively spending. The budget is tight, you guys, as someone with a business and releasing a new product soon that I've invested a lot of money in. I don't have a bunch of just free cash to be throwing around, okay? So I'm going to try and do one last order though, and that's gonna cost a pretty penny probably, because every time I order yarn, I always go crazy. But yeah, so we'll see what I order. I'm definitely going to do a haul once it arrives, but there's a huge chance it's going to arrive while I'm in Japan, which is really annoying. I'm leaving very soon, and I don't have a lot of stuff figured out. But I decided to crochet like a little anchovy, and I've had to like start again for some reason. I'm pretty sure this should be like one of the easiest patterns to come up with, but I'm really struggling to like figure out the perfect anchovy shape. So we're going to try again. I'm starting from the beginning. As you can see, we've got these little nub. But yeah, I don't have that much time left before I leave, and I still have so much to do, you guys. And I have a lot of work related things for my actual like corporate job, and you know, catching up with my friends, and also just being really exhausted. So we're gonna try my best. I am also testing my little dragon pattern at the moment, which is good. Yeah, so we're gonna continue with this little anchovy in the meantime. This is take one of the anchovy. It's not giving anchovy at all. I immediately knew I had to remake this as soon as I finished, or even got like halfway through. There's way too much gray on the face. It looks a bit like a tank, and it's more like a betta fish than it is an anchovy with the tail. I actually used to keep betta fish. They're one of my favorite fish. I definitely want to get another one soon. But when I'm in a more stable long-term living arrangement, because they require a lot of care, you guys. Fish are a difficult pet to keep. You should, if they are easy to keep for you, you're probably not doing enough, or you have a really great eco tank set up. So there's no in between. But yeah, so I wanted it to look more like an anchovy and not like a betta fish, because we're not eating that around here for me. But then I immediately revised, and we came up with this little design. So this is looking much more anchovy-like, and yeah, just a little bit more tapered, a bit less gray for the face. So I'm quite happy with how this one has come out. I think I might still make it a little bit smaller, but I always just feel so bad making the designs really small, because this is the biggest like component of the no-so seafood. So I just don't want it to look like wonky, like a bit out of place compared to the rest of them. I think it is okay. But, you know, an anchovy shouldn't really be bigger than the prawn or the crab, and it is. Anyway, that's a whole different thing, but this is how it's looking, and I am happy with how it looks. So now I'm going to move on to a squid. I'm going to try and make like a little squiddy squid for calamari, but, you know, the whole squid. So we'll see how that turns out. I have like no reference point, so I'm just going to wing it completely. My live calamari is finally finished. This is the squid. I had a couple other attempts that I didn't even bother to frog, because I feel like frogging, everyone knows it, if you work with chenille yarn, the more that you frog it, it does get a bit thinner. Like it is, you have to be very careful when frogging. And usually when I'm crocheting just like a normal pattern, I will frog as much as I need to and reuse the yarn. I do not care. I think it's fine. But I think when you're designing a pattern and you really want to like see the construction of your pattern, I think having just like fresh yarn is the easiest way to do that, because obviously it can be like a little bit distorted if the yarn is frogged and whatever. So yeah, we have some future stuffing, I guess, here. But this is what I ended up coming up with. This is what she's giving. I think, again, a little bit big. Maybe I'll refine it to be a little bit smaller, and I think maybe I want to also try and change up these little side pieces a bit. I think it's maybe a bit too long. I want like a fat version. I like the little chub. I think maybe it's too long in the top. So yeah, we'll see. I'll maybe make some changes like tomorrow. We'll have a go, but that is it for my mini seafood bundle for now. We have 5 now, so I've hit the target. If I come up with anything else I really want to include, then I will go ahead and do that. But this is what we have as like a baseline. It's my last day in Canberra before I go to my holiday in Japan. So I am spending my day doing a bunch of prep just to have everything ready before I leave. I'm going to be doing a bunch of video pre-recordings. I'm going to try and get this video finalized and edited so I can post it while I'm away. And then I've also got a bunch of orders to pack. I've just cut up all my thank you cards. That took me about an hour this morning getting all these guys cut with my flimsy little like guillotine. And then I have my labels that I'm going to be packing my orders today, and I need to shut down my shop, do all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and make some progress this morning. Okay, it's order packing time, and I need to get serious because I don't have the whole day. So we're going to do the first order, lilac, mango, and poppy. Thank you cards into the mailer and seal her up. And then adding the label. And there we go, first order done. All orders have been packed and I'm well and truly warmed up in this freezing warehouse from moving around. But now I'm gonna go ahead and ship them. I have a little bit of work to do, but I'm also gonna try and get some more crochet done and just plan everything out before I leave.